Greetings, YouTube. Today we're taking a look at a Civivi knife, the Elementum. This is the utility model. Now, this is available in gray, black, blue, and green. I picked the green because I don't have many green knives, at least not this particular shade of green. It's aluminum scales. This is a flipper, has a thumb stud, so you have two different methods of deployment. It is a button lock for closing. It has a reversible uh, pocket clip, so this becomes fully dexterous for southpaws, right paws. Anybody can use this knife, which is very cool. And it is designed to be carried tip up, which is the way all knives should be designed. Yes, I'll die on that particular hill. Now, one of the things that fascinated me about this knife was that this is designed to be a knife that uses a utility blade. This does not have a proper conventional knife edge, a knife blade. This is just a utility blade put into a knife holder. And it exposes almost all of the utility blade. There is a small portion, about a quarter of an inch, which is hidden in down here, but the rest is completely exposed. So yeah, don't be choking up on that. You're going to regret that. Um, so I'm a Warncliffe fan, and getting the opportunity to see the essentially turning a utility knife into a Warncliffe, I thought that was a pretty cool concept. I picked this up off of Amazon. I believe I paid 42 bucks, and that was in May of 2024. And I find the thumb studs to be completely superfluous because I want this to be a flipper. So it deploys nicely. Because there isn't a lot of blade, you do have to give it a bit of a oomph to get it out there. There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of mass to work with there. So you're the person that's really pushing that out there. But it does work. And if you do want to use the thumb stud rather, you can do that. And if you were so inclined, you could press the button lock and then just flip it out. It just I can almost always get a bounce when I do it that way, so I tend not to do it that way. Though I just let it fall closed, which is quite convenient. It has sculpting here on both sides, a little relief. So if you do decide to use the thumb stud, and it's on both sides, so guess fully ambidextrous. Um, the blade is nice and centered, and the two standoffs here are nice and sculpted. So that's a nice feature as well. Overall, this is a solidly built knife, and I think it's very cool. Particularly if you really want to, you've even got space for paracord, and you could get a full piece of paracord through there if you wanted to. And I can kind of see why some people might want to have a little tail on there, because this is not a big knife. Okay, so if I hold this like this, that's a three finger carry. If you put a little tail on there, it's going to give you a little bit more stability. Okay, so a little bit of paracord tail on there, maybe a nice bead or something. That's going to give you a little bit more stability when it comes to using it. There's a little bit of jimping on the back, so you can come in here if you need to make a cut like this, and it works quite well in a scalpel cut. But again, even though this is a utility knife, you really have to make sure you remember that you're not just using that much of the utility knife, or that much is what most utility knives stick that much out the blade. No, you've got the whole thing there. Keep that in mind. This is a very good knife, I think, for folks that want a knife but don't want the hassle of ever having to worry about sharpening. Okay, you use this, you can take this fastener out, turn it around, you can still get a tip that's fresh, even if the edge itself isn't. So it will continue to be a functional box cutter. Um, and you will need a star drive. I did not check to see what size that is. I don't I want to say an 8, but I could be wrong on that one. But most bit kits you get nowadays have star drive bits in them. But if you're a knife person, you probably have some dedicated star drivers anyway, because most fasteners on knives are star drive. There is a nice little C right here on that side of the pivot, and the other side is a uh, star drive for tensioning. I did not have to touch this. It came out of the box with my attention that I was quite happy with. The amount of tension on the retaining ring here, the spring for pocket clip, was not too much. Sometimes I've found pocket clips they can really crank them down. This one was not. Just right on and off a pair of jeans without a problem, and it has a nice deep pocket carry that's flush like that, so this thing disappears. All you see is this little clip. And because it is thin, light, and on the short side, again, it's only a 3-finger grip for me, it takes up very little pocket real estate. It just disappears in your pocket. Again, if that's your thing, if you're looking for a knife, you don't have to worry about it being, you know, overly, obtrusive and very obvious. This could be a model you want. Now, here's a critique that I quite don't understand. There are two holes here and here in this knife blade. Okay, and this here, this piece of metal right there, could have extended all the way up to the top and all the way to the bottom, and those two holes wouldn't be present because I cannot for the life of me see what those two holes are doing for you as a user. And nor can I do understand what they are doing for the design aesthetically. I find them ugly as all hell. They just don't need to be there. And with the addition of a quarter inch more steel in two directions, that would have just disappeared. It would have been a nice, clean design. You would have never seen the tip of that utility blade because I don't need to see the tip of the unused end of this utility blade. It's a utility blade. I know what they look like. Okay, so you don't have to show it to me because I don't need to know what it looks like. I know what they look like, and it came with extras. This came with a small plastic container with extras in it. I think there might have been 5. I didn't count them. Came with a nice folding little pouch for it, zipper, with the cloth in there for cleaning. Though this blade really doesn't going to need any kind of special cloth for cleaning because when it gets dirty, you throw it away and you put a new blade in. Super simple. Now the one thing you're going to have to be careful of is that utility blades are very brittle. Now, I do not ever suggest that you pry with a knife edge. That is verboten. Don't do that. But I have used utility knives trying to get something done in a utility knife situation and chip the edge just because I put force in a direction that the knife did not like. And utility knives are very sharp, they're very thin, they're nice and hard, but that makes them brittle. So you need to make sure you understand that. Uh, and again, I don't recommend prying with a utility knife. I don't recommend you prying with a regular knife, but just know that this is going to be more brittle. It's going to have a higher Rockwell hardness than most knives you probably have in your collection or even in your kitchen drawer. So this is a nice little knife. I really think it is. The only problem for me is it is a nice little knife. It is too small for me. It doesn't feel the right size. I'm holding this like this, and it's just not the right size for my hand. I want something that's larger than this. I've been carrying a Warncliffe from Civivi, and that's with an S. And it is a flipper as well as a button lock as well. Um, and I really love the thing because it's a larger size and it really fits my jam, right in the to where I am when it comes to knives. I love a flipper, and unfortunately, because of arthritis, I really can't use a thumb stud anymore comfortably. At least not many times. And let's all be honest, we like to play with our knives. And having a liner lock, having a button lock means it's easier for me to close, so I can get in there and just do a very direct kind of a pinch if I need to, which is a little bit more comfortable than doing a flat like this. That is more painful for me to do. That is a little bit more comfortable. Um, so yeah, if you're looking for a knife, or you know someone that wants to carry a knife, but they don't want something that's too big, and they don't have to worry about having to keeping it sharp. Say they've gotten knives in the past, they've used them, they got dull, and they get thrown into a drawer, and they never do anything with it because they're not the type of person that's going to sharpen a knife. Well, I found your solution. All they're going to do is remove one fastener and put a new utility blade in there, and they're good to go for probably another 6 to 9 months. So yeah, nice little knife. I really recommend this. Civivi has never failed me when it came to quality. They do put out a quality product. It's not expensive. $42 is not a whole lot to ask for a knife of this quality, in this size, and with this literal much utility, um, which is hence the name. So yeah, and if you're left-handed, even though you be doing it this way, it's still quite comfortable. In fact, I think that this may even be more comfortable for me for two reasons. One, I'm using my finger, not my thumb, and two, my left hand has less arthritic pain than my right hand. So for me, using this left-handed is actually more comfortable than using it right-handed. I just don't happen to be left-handed. All right, so go get yourself one if you want a knife. You're not going to have to worry about having to, sharpen it. And this would make a great gift for somebody that's just getting into the whole knife scene.